In the fall of 2012, Liz Golyar, a single mother living in Omaha, Nebraska, was dating a man named Dave Krupa. Though Liz and Dave had agreed to keep their relationship casual, she became enraged when Dave began seeing someone else and brutally murdered the innocent woman. However, that was only the beginning of the story. Over the next 3 years, she pretended to be the woman she killed, sending tens of thousands of text messages posing as her victim, burning her own house down, and even shooting herself in the leg while carrying out her disturbing hoax. This instance, along with the others we'll be talking about, are some of the most disturbing crimes ever committed. In 2012, Shauna Liz Golyar met Dave Krupa on an online dating website. From the beginning, Dave told her that he wasn't interested in anything serious, and Liz agreed. However, that October, Dave went on a date with a woman named Carrie Farver, and it immediately upset Liz. According to court records, Dave's first date with Carrie was on October 29, 2012. While they were at dinner, Liz began calling and texting Dave's phone. Dave told her that he was on a date and wasn't able to respond immediately, so Liz showed up at his apartment. As Dave and Carrie returned to his place after dinner, Liz started ringing the doorbell. She was crying and said she wanted to gather some of her belongings from inside. Dave apologized to Carrie and agreed to meet her at her place later that evening after speaking with Liz. Over the next 2 weeks, Liz made a fake Facebook account and tried to add Carrie as a friend, spray-painted Carrie's car, and started stalking the woman. On November 12th, Carrie spent the night at Dave's apartment as she had to be at work early the next morning, and he lived closer to her office than she did. After she left for work that day, she was never seen again. It's unclear exactly what happened, as Liz Golyar maintains her innocence to this day. But what is known is that at some point, Liz stabbed Carrie to death, possibly while sitting inside Carrie's car. Police later found a large bloodstain beneath the fabric of the passenger seat. Immediately after killing Carrie, Liz texted Dave from Carrie's phone, pretending to be her. She told Dave that she wanted to move in with him, even though they had discussed keeping things casual. When Dave declined, Liz began sending bizarre messages. Dave later told Dateline, "As soon as I text her back, I get a text back that says, 'Fine, I don't ever want to see you again. Go away. I'm dating somebody else. I hate you.'" Thinking the text was from Carrie, Dave was confused by the sudden change in her personality. He assumed their short relationship was over, but he kept receiving threatening texts. At the same time, Liv texted Carrie's mother, Nancy Rainey, and told her that she got a new job in Kansas and would return for her 15-year-old son once she found somewhere to live. Rainey thought this was odd, and she eventually reached out to the police to report Carrie missing. However, since Carrie was still seemingly sending texts and emails from her devices, the authorities assumed she'd run off willingly. Carrie had a history of bipolar disorder, and though she'd been stable for years, the police theorized she'd stopped taking her medicine, leading to her odd behavior. It would be 3 years before investigators finally took Carrie's disappearance seriously. While Dave continued receiving unhinged messages from Carrie's number, Liz reached out to him and informed him that she'd been getting threatening texts and emails as well. The two of them bonded over their shared trauma and began rekindling their relationship. Whenever Dave and Liv's relationship started to fizzle out, something drastic would happen involving Carrie, bringing them together once again. For instance, just after they broke up in August 2013, Liv called Dave in a panic, saying that her house had burned down, killing her 4 pets trapped inside. Soon after Liv hung up the phone, Dave received a text from Carrie's number saying, "I am not lying. I set that nasty house on fire. I hope the whore and her kids die in it." When they broke up again in November 2015, Liv tried a different tactic. She went to the police and stated that she thought the harassing texts weren't coming from Carrie after all. Liv claimed that Dave's ex-girlfriend and the mother of his children, Amy Flora, had actually killed Carrie and had been posing as her. These outrageous assertions would mark the beginning of Liv's downfall. The police quickly cleared Amy Flora, but they didn't tell Liv that. Instead, they asked her to help them with their investigation and reach out to Amy to get details about the crime. Liv almost immediately forwarded them an email that was supposedly from Amy and included gruesome details about Carrie's murder. It noted that Carrie had been stabbed 3 to 4 times and stuffed into a garbage bag. However, the real turning point in the investigation came in December 2015 when Liv called 911 from Big Lake Park in Council Bluffs, Iowa, saying Amy had shot her in the leg. Again, police quickly cleared Amy, but they asked Liv if they could search her devices to gather evidence against her alleged shooter. Scattered across Liz's phone, tablet, and an old SD card, detectives found mountains of evidence. They discovered that Liv had sent 15,000 emails and up to 50,000 texts posing as Carrie over the course of 3 years. They also uncovered a deleted photo of a dead body with a tattoo on its foot, the very same tattoo that Carrie had. After an extensive investigation, police arrested Liz Golyar and charged her with the first-degree murder of Carrie Farver on December 22, 2016. She was ultimately found guilty in 2017 and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Born on November 29, 1975, Angela Simpson has claimed she's struggled with mental illness since the age of 10. Little is known about Simpson's life, except for the gruesome murder she committed against a disabled man. The crime began on August 2, 2009, shortly after 46-year-old Terry Neely left his assisted care facility in his wheelchair. Soon afterward, he was lured into an apartment by 33-year-old Angela Simpson, who he apparently knew. Simpson told Neely that she would give him sex and drugs if he entered the apartment with her. Instead, she began brutally torturing him. Over the course of 3 days, Simpson beat Neely with a tire iron, stabbed him at least 50 times with multiple knives, hammered a 3-inch nail into his head, and extracted his teeth. Simpson also placed a mirror in front of him and forced him to watch his own torture. In the end, Simpson slashed Neely's throat and strangled him with a television cord, killing him in the same apartment. She then dismembered his body and tossed the remains into a nearby trash bin, which she then set on fire in an attempt to cover up the murder. Unbeknownst to Angela Simpson, the assisted care facility where Terry Neely lived had filed a missing persons report after they realized that he was gone. Trying to destroy Neely's remains in the fire failed, as the fire department showed up to the trash bin in time to recover the body parts on August 5th. Fingerprint tests on the remains confirmed that they belonged to Neely, and police opened an investigation into his murder. A few days later, Neely's wheelchair was recovered near the apartment of 36-year-old Edward McFarland, a known associate of Simpson. Investigators searched a different apartment that was known to have been frequented by both Simpson and McFarland, and discovered bloodstains that were a match to Neely. Additionally, a witness reported to police that he had seen smoke coming from that apartment at one point. The same witness also said that Simpson and McFarland had asked to borrow his car, and that Simpson confessed to killing Neely and threatened to kill the witness if he reported her. By the time that Simpson and McFarland were interviewed by police, both were already in jail on an unrelated armed robbery charge. On August 18th, Simpson freely admitted to killing Neely. She became nationally infamous for her motive and her apparent lack of remorse. Angela Simpson claimed that she murdered Terry Neely because he was a snitch, and justified her actions by claiming that he told on a righteous person years ago. But the Phoenix Police Department had no record of Neely ever being an informant or telling on anyone. Simpson remained insistent that Neely was a snitch and that he got what he deserved. She expressed no remorse for the murder and said she regretted only one thing: not being able to kill any more snitches. Later, Simpson pleaded guilty to first-degree murder on March 22, 2012. She was later sentenced to life in prison, plus 14 additional years on other charges. This one is one of the most gruesome crimes I've ever come across, which is why it's last in the video. So if you have a weak stomach, you may want to click off. In 2020, prosecutors released gruesome details in the case of a California father accused of decapitating 2 of his teen children and forcing his other children to live with the bodies. It was the Sunday after Thanksgiving when 34-year-old Maurice Jewell Taylor Sr. decapitated his 12-year-old son, Maurice Jr., and his 13-year-old daughter, Maliaka. It was later revealed that Taylor then kept the corpses of his 2 children in the house for 5 days, among his other living children. The personal trainer allegedly showed his youngest sons the bodies of their decapitated siblings sometime in the 5-day period between when they were killed and when they were discovered dead. For several days, the boys aged 8 and 9 were forced to stay in their bedrooms, where they didn't receive any food. Meanwhile, Taylor's clients had been in touch with police after failing to reach him the week before. One of Taylor's clients, Howard Kern, eventually called in a potential gas leak in order to get authorities to the man's house. The victims were consequently discovered by the fire department in separate bedrooms of the residence. Prosecutors revealed that the victims were stabbed on November 29th, but it remains unclear whether or not they were still alive when their father cut their heads off, or why he even committed the act in the first place. The father was taken into custody handcuffed and strapped to a stretcher on Friday, December 4th, 2020. He was officially charged on Tuesday, December 8th, with 1 count of murder and child abuse for each of his 2 dead children. The children's mother was discovered to have also been in the house during the murders, but authorities said she wasn't a suspect, at least at first. The mother, Natalie Sumiko Brothwell, was later arrested in September and faced the same counts as Taylor. Both were held on a $4.2 million bail, and Taylor faced a possible maximum sentence of more than 57 years to life in state prison. In 2020, criminal proceedings were temporarily suspended for Taylor after a doubt was declared about his mental competency, but it was later reinstated. The last update I could find on this case was that both Taylor and Natalie pleaded not guilty. I tried to find more information about their sentencing, but I wasn't able to find much, and the story seemed to end there. If you have any updates on this case, feel free to let me know in the comments below.